You've already watched our episodes where we discuss whether or not people can legally be reading books out loud on social media or if they're going to get hit with a copyright infringement and all the things that come with it. But let's say you've gone through the process of getting the license to then read those books out loud in a public performance on social media or in person. What do you need to know about the paperwork side of this? Let's talk to everybody's favorite IP and entertainment lawyer to find out more.
My name is Tony Oikasas. I'm an adjunct professor of entertainment law and IP at New York Law School and have an Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok account called The IP Professor that is dedicated to all things intellectual property.
We've been talking a lot about whether or not people can legally read books out loud in public, on social media, in live streams, and we have a ton of videos on it. But we got a really good question saying, if I do secure the licensure to be able to do a public performance on social media or in person, what do I need to be aware of when it comes to the documentation, the contractual side of this? So Tony, can you break that down for us?
Yeah, and this is a really great question. So thank you to the viewer that submitted it. Basically, this is all going to boil down to the rights that you ask for when you contact said publisher. And this is not specific to the publishing industry. This is common in the music licensing space, in the video licensing space, in the photo licensing space, which is that when you ask someone else to use their copyrighted material, obviously you're asking for the general permission, right? But typically you're asking also for specific, what are called media distribution rights, meaning that you're asking to use the material in a specific territory, in a specific media or all media, for a specific term. And like I said, very commonplace in the licensing space, no matter what type of copyrighted material is being licensed. So in this case, if you contacted a publisher and you said, look, I want to share this on a TikTok live. I want to do a live read of these books, and I want permission to use it on TikTok live, for a brief period of time. Obviously, you can't archive TikTok live videos, but it's still going to be readily available to the general public. It arguably could be seen worldwide. So in that context, you would be asking for worldwide rights. That's the territory, because you can't geo-block, or you can't really limit where your TikTok live can be seen. It would be in social media, maybe even more specific to the fact that it's a TikTok live. So maybe that would be spelled out as the core media. And then in this case, because it's not in perpetuity, it's not for the life of the video, it's going to be for a finite period of time. You could say, you could argue that it's going to be for, a specific limited run, arguably one live stream that is not archived in perpetuity. Now, this could differ if, let's say, you're putting this up on YouTube. Again, you can't geo-block on YouTube, so that's still a worldwide license. That would be in a YouTube video, but YouTube can live online forever in perpetuity. So maybe you're asking for an in perpetuity term in that context. Now, the thing to note, though, is that some entities that are asking or asking what rights you're inquiring about for specific copyrighted material, that will affect the license cost. Most times, if you ask for the broadest terms, it's going to be very expensive. If you ask for more narrow terms, that's going to drive the cost a little bit down. So if you find, let's use the YouTube example as an example here, you're already asking for worldwide rights. That's very broad. You're asking for use in a YouTube video, so that's limited in the media. But if you ask for in perpetuity, that could drive the cost up for the license fee a little bit. If you tailor it down to, let's say, a 10-year term, maybe that drives down the cost. Even a 5-year term could drive the cost down. So your media distribution terms are going to fluctuate, but that's all going to be contingent on what you negotiate with the licensor, in this case, the entity that owns the copyright to the material that you're asking permission for. Once that is laid out, then it's memorialized by way of a contract, the license agreement. And that's what's going to tell you exactly what you, the licensee, are permitted to use their copyrighted material in a specific manner. So once both signatories sign the contract, you're bound by those terms. So if you agreed to use on a TikTok live worldwide for the life of the live stream, that's all you can use it. You can't use it on YouTube. You can't use it on Instagram Reels. You can't use it on Facebook. It's limited to one specific media. If you want other social media, you can expand that to be all social media. However, whichever way you think is best would be the way to go. And that, again, would have to be negotiated before the signature of a contract. And obviously, I would be remiss to say that if you have no knowledge of licensing, if this is new terrain for you, or you do inquire about rights and you get a license agreement and it all looks like gibberish to you, please talk to a lawyer for context and for guidance, as they would be in the best position to help give you the necessary information about how to move forward with the license agreement, if there are any necessary changes that need to be made to said license agreement. Anything and everything that is in that contract could be reviewed by a lawyer. And obviously, I've said it before, the premise of being a lawyer is to be your advocate. So they're going to seek the best protections for you and make sure that you're signing something that's going to be advantageous to you.
And I think it's worth pointing out that these contracts are not going to be the same across the board. As you are asking for different things, it's going to look different. So while you are not going to be seeing the same thing for every time you're licensing it, you want to make sure that you have somebody who understands these things, because it will fluctuate a little bit. So that is why it's so important to make sure you have a lawyer involved in this process as well. And make sure you kind of study up on some of those red flag, green flags that you should be looking at when you're having these conversations before bringing it to your lawyer, so you know what to ask about. If you have questions on this, go ahead and drop it down below. Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. And as always, you can reach out to Tony on the social media. Tony, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at the IP Professor. You can check out my entertainment law podcast called Scene, with new episodes dropping every Friday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Drop your questions down below, because Tony's coming back for upcoming episodes. And we've already done so many episodes on this topic down below in our legal playlist, so make sure you watch through all of those. And we drop daily episodes helping you navigate the world of publishing, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing, to make this your most profitable year ever. So get those questions down below, because we want to help you eliminate the stress and the overwhelm and the time commitment on your content creation. We'll see you then.